Good morning and welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Madison. My name is Karen Urrutia Polnitz. My pronouns are she or they, and I am the Director of Religious Exploration. I am very excited to welcome you to this year's Coming of Age service. Many thanks to those who are volunteering this morning. Our greeter is Ann Smiley, our ushers, Alyssa Ryanjoy and Bev Dusso, and our coffee hospitality, Jeannie Hills, Alice Delaquest, and Isa Garusi. Thank you all. At First Unitarian Society, we question boldly, listen humbly, grow spiritually, act courageously, and love unapologetically. If you are visiting us today, welcome. We are so grateful that you are here. If you would like more information about First Unitarian Society, please stop by the welcome table located in the Commons. We hope you will also be able to join us for coffee hour immediately after service, also in the Commons. For those connecting with us virtually today, we are glad you are here with us as well. And we hope you will be able to take a moment to watch the announcement slides after today's service to learn about upcoming programs and services. Today, as we witness a group of students sharing the culmination of their curricular experience as religious explorers here at FUS, I hope you may feel inspired to be part of the journey of future explorers of our children and youth in our community. This year, 65 adults shared their time and talents with our young people as teachers in our Children's and Youth Religious Exploration Program. Thank you to those teachers. Those teachers are provided curriculum, but it is they who brought the weekly care and connection that truly makes our programming meaningful to the students and families that we serve. Our offerings for children from age 3 through 9th grade would not be possible without the generous volunteering of our teachers. Next year, we hope you'll join us too. If you would like to learn more about teaching one of our classes for next year, please listen in for teaching testimonials and stop by the FAR RE tables in the back of the Commons over the next few weeks. I look forward to connecting with you about this exciting opportunity. Also of note, the peace poles are ready for accessorizing on our front lawn. Whether you've signed up or not, we invite you to participate in the accessorizing of the poles today, later in the week, or when you are so moved. Alice Delaquest, Nadine Wright, Barb Avery, and Bev Dusso have created decorative sleeves to get us started. Donated materials are available on the tables located outside the landmark. You can choose your own peace pole or assist someone who is already accessorizing and join in community by creating a beautiful visual display of peaceful images. This morning, we will have the privilege of hearing from an impressive group of youth who have spent the past 8 months in our Coming of Age program. The Coming of Age year is a season of self-exploration when students deepen their understanding of their own beliefs and connections to our Unitarian Universalist community. Their time has been filled with experiential learning, introspection, meaningful discussion, exposure to new perspectives, and much growth and change. As the culmination of their coming of age experience, the students have each crafted a belief statement which they will be sharing with you today. The words of our youth, as well as their musical contributions to today's service, are sure to inspire us with hope and awe. And now, I invite you to welcome in our Coming of Age class.
Spirit of the East, Spirit of air, of morning and springtime, be with us as the sun rises in times of beginning, in times of planting. Inspire us with the fresh breath of courage as we go forth into new adventures.
Spirit of the South, Spirit of fire, of noontime and summer, be with us through the heat of the day and help us to be ever growing. Warm us with strength and energy for the work that awaits us.
Spirit of the West, Spirit of water, of evening and autumn, be with us as the sun sets and help us to enjoy a rich harvest. Flow through us with a cooling, healing quietness and bring us peace.
Spirit of the North, Spirit of earth, of nighttime and winter, be with us in the darkness, in the time of destination. Ground us in the wisdom of the changing seasons as we celebrate the spiraling journey of our lives.
Please rise in all the ways we do and join together in the words of affirmation as we light our chalice. Join us today as we gather in a wider search for truth and purpose. On this journey, may we greet one another with open hearts and minds.
Inspire each other to consider new questions. May we cultivate wisdom and compassion, and may we never stop learning and growing.
Before we join together in song, please take a moment to turn and greet those around you.
We just have to lead it. Hello. Please join together in singing our opening hymn, number 1051, We Are.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who sings to the universe who we are.
We invite anyone who would like to come closer for our story to join us on the carpet. Today we're reading Where the Wild Things Are. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind. And another. His mother called him Wild Thing, and Max said, "I'll eat you up." So he was sent to bed without eating anything. That very night, in Max's room, a forest grew. And grew. And grew until his ceiling hung with vines and the walls became the world all around. And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed off through night and day.
And in and out of weeks and almost over a year to where the wild things are. And when he came to that place where the wild things are, they roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. And Max said, "Be still," and tamed them with the magic trick of staring into all their yellow eyes without blinking once, and they were frightened and called him the most wild thing of all. And made him king of all wild things. And now, cried Max, let the wild rumpus start.
"Now stop," Max said, and sent the wild things off to bed without their supper. And Max, the king of all the wild things, was lonely and wanted there to be someone that loved him best of all. Then all around from far across the world, he smelled good things to eat. And so he gave up being a king of all where the wild things are. But the wild things cried, "Oh, please don't go. We'll eat you up. We love you so." And Max said, "No." The wild things roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. But Max stepped into his private boat and waved goodbye. And sailed back over a year and in and out of weeks and through a day and into the night of his very own room, where he found his supper waiting for him. And it was still hot.
Okay, so really quick before you guys go to your classes, I wanted to tell you why we picked this book. As you know, as part of the coming of age program, we go on a retreat into the woods where we sit alone, all by ourselves, with no sense of time, no activities for 6 hours. And it's supposed to be a time for us to reflect and think about what we believe in preparation for this service. And we picked this book because we felt it represented the journey we went on and our experience in the woods. I know some people in my class went a little caveman, So that was definitely a part of it. And also, it's a story of an adventure, of a journey, and that's really what we went on this whole class, this whole Sunday school program, and that's what we wanted this whole service to be about, is our journey and the exploration that we did. So yeah, that's why we picked this.
And now, I think, are you playing piano? No. We're going to sing you out to your classes.
One of the most deceptively difficult things in the world is the simple act of living. And I'm sure many of the people here would agree. It's hard. We have to live these long, exhausting lives, make intense choices when there's often no clear benefit to either side, and try our best to achieve goals that often seem impossible. But that's not even the half of it. On top of everything else, we have to do all these hard things while putting up with other people? Other people who, might I add, are often working just as hard as us, and yet in direct conflict to us. Far too often, it seems that other people are just deliberately trying to sabotage everything we work so hard for. And far too often, we find ourselves baffled that others don't see things that are so obvious to us. But when you think about it, it makes sense. Take me, for example. Now, I've only ever lived my life in my own mind, so my worldview stems from my own perspectives and experiences. The same is true for every single person on this planet. 8 billion distinct worldviews, each colored slightly differently, each centering on a single person who will never know a world other than their own. And each of these worlds is just as real to its lone inhabitant as mine is to me or as yours is to you. This, in less flowery language, is the philosophical tenet of subjectivism, the idea that our own mental activity and experiences are the only things we can truly know for certain, and that due to this, there can be no singular objective truth. Subjectivism is one of the deepest ideals that I hold to as I move through my life. It becomes much easier to feel for that jerk who pulled in front of you on the highway when you realize that in the world they inhabit, you are nothing more than the jerk who is driving far too slow when they're already 10 minutes late on their commute into the city for work. It goes beyond simple empathy, though. It goes beyond a widening of perspective. In order to truly embody this ideal of subjectivism, you have to accept that, even if someone's beliefs are as different to yours as apples are to oranges, those beliefs are true. The only thing we can know for certain is our own experience. So, if we experience belief in something, then definitionally, it must be true. Of course, I'm sure a lot of you are thinking the same or a similar thing. What about prejudice? What about beliefs that are directly harmful to others? Are you saying that just because someone somewhere believes something, that that belief is true? And in a sense, yes, I am. I actually think it's incredibly helpful to understand when interacting or observing with people whose beliefs and worlds clash intensely with yours, that their worldview, their world, is just as real to them as yours is to you, different as the two may be. You cannot convince someone that a deeply held belief, no matter how harmful, is wrong through use of sword or hammer. In other words, trying to debate that MAGA guy on Twitter never does anything, except make the both of you even angrier and even more certain of your respective truths, because you're only enforcing already held beliefs by engaging in reactionary and hostile behavior. Instead, the way to change these harmful beliefs, to change the facts and truths of what are functionally entire worlds, is to work within this framework of subjectivism. Because although we are all trapped in worlds of our own making, the truths of these worlds didn't sprout from thin air. As people, we are deeply interconnected. Our 8 billion little honeycombed worlds bump up against each other constantly, truths changing and warping slightly with every interaction. But our minds aren't changed by force. Instead, minds and worlds are changed through the gentle pushes of positive interaction. Pushes that force people to reckon with the stereotypes and prejudices that they have long held unquestioningly. There is a reason why Unitarian minister Theodore Parker believed so fervently that, to paraphrase his famous quote, "The arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice." It is beliefs of love, of kindness, and of warmth that will eventually spread through billions of subjective worlds. Because it is beliefs like these, beliefs like we hold in this congregation, that cause us to branch out, to love each other, to open the doors of our hearts to anyone, whether they be friend, neighbor, or even enemy. It is beliefs like ours that will ultimately spread, because love is always more attractive than hate in the end. So, when we leave church today and show kindness to all the people we encounter, we plant seeds of love in worlds where it may long have gone forgotten. In recent years, we've gotten far too comfortable seeing our neighbors as our enemies, seeing people who think differently from us as purposely antagonistic, or insane, or just plain stupid. And I know it can be hard to think otherwise. The people I'm talking about don't always make it easy, but that's exactly why we need to be the ones to take this action. Subjectivism shows us a way to change the status quo. Because from acts as simple as holding open a door or complimenting a stranger, a ripple effect begins to engage, until enough individual realities are bright enough that, when you layer them on top of one another, light shines through the darkness. The light of 8 billion suns, seen from 8 billion pairs of eyes in 8 billion subjective worlds, all shining in slightly different colors, but shining as one.
I believe in not knowing. In the life I've lived so far, there have been a lot of things I haven't known, and there are still a lot of things I don't know. But here's one thing I know for sure. I can figure out how to handle whatever comes. In the summer before 7th grade, I went to camp for the first time. You might be thinking, oh, that's so fun, but not for me. For me, those 2 weeks were filled with fear, panic, and missing my family. To this day, I struggle with anxiety and panic attacks left over from that experience. Ever since those 2 weeks away from my family, I have lived with constant terror about the future. Tomorrow could take my family away, but letting this fear take over made me miserable. I couldn't bear the thought of leaving my family, even temporarily, so I didn't. When my friends asked me to hang out, I said no. After soccer games, I ran directly to the sidelines where my parents stood. I felt dysfunctional. If I couldn't go to camp for 2 weeks, how could I ever grow up? Through all this fear I was experiencing, my parents always repeated, "You can figure out how to handle whatever comes." Eventually, I realized that I didn't actually want to stay at home every day for the rest of my life. I wanted to grow up, and that meant embracing uncertainty. I had to choose to take the chance that today could bring something bad, but even if that happened, I could figure out how to handle whatever comes. As middle school unfolded, slowly I began branching out again, but it was still hard and uncomfortable. But who knows where I'd be today if I didn't learn to embrace not knowing. At camp, I learned that life is not always going to go exactly how you plan. But the only thing you can do to prepare yourself is embrace the uncertainty, choose to take the chance, and trust yourself. This year, my dad and I had the opportunity to go to Ecuador to volunteer. This was a trip we'd been dreaming of for years, but going meant being away from my family and my home for an entire month in another country. We decided that this wasn't a good idea. We wouldn't have a quick way to get home if my nervous system decided I wasn't safe being away from home. We were bummed, but it made the most sense to play it safe. Then I started to think some more. I didn't know if it would feel like camp all over again, and I didn't know how being so far away from home would affect me. But I decided that I could and would handle whatever came. I was absolutely terrified, but I promised myself that I could figure out how to handle whatever came. My dad and I went on the trip, and it was the experience of a lifetime. Yes, I missed my mom and my brother and my home and everything I love here, but if I had let the fear and uncertainty stop me from going, I never would have had a hummingbird land in my hand. I never would have hiked up an active volcano, and I never would have met all the people that I miss so deeply now. But above all, I never would have trusted myself the way I do now. I can't know what will happen next, and neither can you, but I do know that no matter what, I can figure out how to handle whatever comes.
Passage to India. Are thy wings plumed indeed for such far flights? O soul, voyagest thou indeed on voyages like these? Deportest thou on waters such as those? Soundest below the Sanskrit and the Vedas? Then have thy bent unleashed.
Passage to you, your shores, ye aged fierce enigmas. Passage to you, to mastership of you, ye strangling problems. You, strewed with the wrecks of skeletons that living never reached you.
Passage to more than India, O secret of the earth and sky.
Of you, O waters of the sea.
O winding creeks and rivers.
Of you, O woods and fields.
Of you, strong mountains of my land.
Of you, O prairies.
Of you, gray rocks.
O morning red.
O clouds, rain, and snows.
O day and night, passage to you.
O sun and moon and all you stars, Sirius and Jupiter, passage to you.
Passage, immediate passage. The blood burns in my veins. Away, O soul, hoist instantly the anchor. Cut the hawsers, haul out, shake out every sail.
Have we not stood here like trees in the ground long enough? Have we not groveled here long enough, eating and drinking like mere brutes? Have we not darkened and dazed ourselves with books long enough?
Sail forth, steer for the deep waters only, reckless, O soul, exploring, I with thee and thou with me. For we are bound where mariner has not yet dared to go, and we will risk the ship ourselves and all.
O my brave soul, O farther, farther sail. O daring joy, but safe, are they not all the seas of God? O farther, farther, farther sail.
The open road has always been more than asphalt and miles. It's a mirror of our inner journey. Cars, in their quiet way, give us something rare, the freedom to move on our own terms. That first drive, it's not about just getting somewhere. It's about discovering you can steer your own life. People may see this as a building block, a kind of perpetual action that defines who we are. We choose the pace, the path, the destination, and who we take that journey with. And in that choice, we grow. However, real freedom isn't just going fast. It's knowing when to slow down, to when to let others pass, when to share the road. The car becomes a space of solitude and clarity where thoughts catch up to motion. It's where decisions are made that can be good or bad, yet, as we gain independence and freedom, we know where we truly want to be. And in that comes a choice. In my belief, the most important choice. You could live a long, peaceful life, or you could go out in a blaze of glory, short yet impactful, maybe even legendary. This could be compared to an old story, The City Mouse and the Country Mouse, where one lives a simple, peaceful life in the country, while the other enjoys a luxurious but dangerous existence in the city. Sometimes a flashier car, like a V12 Ferrari, could attract as many bystanders, and it'll be fun and fast. But it won't get you as far as a humble inline 3 Mini Cooper. You don't always need to be the loudest person in the room to be the most successful, but there's a chance that no one will remember the quietest person. This I believe.
Hi, I'm Tommy Hicks, and I believe in living. Although I wish that could be my whole speech, unfortunately it can't. I have to tell a story, and the story I chose starts a few years ago, when I was about 9 or 10. When I was that age, I liked to ask a lot of questions. Questions like, what's for lunch, or what's for dinner? But as I got older, I liked asking bigger questions. Questions like, what happens when we die? I never answered that one, but through watching The Good Place with my family, I developed an interest in philosophy. I liked philosophy because they asked the biggest questions. To my surprise, the show The Good Place had no talk about what I thought was the whole point of philosophy. What's the meaning of life? That one question, I thought, was the only reason philosophy should exist. So, since I thought philosophers weren't answering that, I said they were stupid. But as I got even older, I realized that I was the stupid one. That I didn't really care what philosophers thought. The person I wanted to answer the biggest question was myself. So when going to the 6-hour wilderness retreat, I came to answer the biggest question for myself. There is no meaning to life. We are 8 billion distant monkey relatives floating on a rock through infinite space. We don't matter in the slightest, and any attempt to preserve our species will only prolong the time that we have. The human race will undoubtedly come to an end. But that, being dark, begs another question. If there is no meaning to life, what's the point in living? And this led me to what I believe in. The point of living is to live. Although that sounds really profound, I assure you it isn't. It's simple. The chances of you being born are 1 in 400 trillion. You have been given a 1 in 400 trillion chance. That's lower than the chances of winning the lottery, or getting struck by lightning, or getting struck by lightning while winning the lottery. So you were born against inconceivable odds. What now? Now you live. You go to your brother's soccer games. You cook with your mom. You hang out with your friends, or you paint a picture, or you write an essay, or you make a robot, or you do anything so that you get to experience it, to live it. But not only that, you experience the bad things too. You lose someone you love. You worry about your future. You get injured or get knocked out of the tournament. I don't mean you should wish for these things. They're terrible. I mean you should be there for them. You should feel their emotions throughout the entirety of you, because that's what life is. But you shouldn't let those emotions stop you from living. As my great-grandma used to say, life's too short for that shit. But this might not be coming from someone that's experienced all of the curveballs that life can throw at you. I'm only 14. But somewhere down the line, if I were to take all of these church classes again, at the end of it, I would start and end my speech with I believe in living. Thank you.
We invite you now into the giving and receiving of today's offering, which supports the work of Operation Fresh Start, this year's outreach offering chosen by our Coming of Age class. Since their founding in 1970, Operation Fresh Start has created opportunities for young adults who have faced barriers to education and employment. They are equipping young people with the skills and knowledge necessary to find their own success and, with their community partners, working to create equitable pathways for their continued success.
The primary goal is to provide emerging adults a path to self-sufficiency. Operation Fresh Start views every young person as an asset to our community. There are multiple ways to share your gifts. You will see on the screen that you can donate directly from our website, and you will see the text to give information there as well. Baskets will now be passed here in this room. Thank you for your generosity and your faith in this life we create together.
Hi there. Some of you know me as Evie, Leslie's granddaughter, the girl from school, the girl who talks way too much or too little, a familiar face, or an old friend. But most of you have probably never seen me in your life. That's reasonable. I don't expect everyone to know who I am. In fact, that might be a bit scary. So allow me to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Evelyn Meadow, and I'm 14 years old. I'm a passionate animal lover with 3 cats, 1 dog, and 3 younger sisters and 1 older. I've got a raging obsession with music, which I think I inherited from my dad. I've dyed my hair more times than I can even count, mostly because I'm indecisive, and if I could, I'd probably be a rainbow. When I'm older, I plan to own a small floral shop and bakery in the countryside of Illinois with my older sister. Generally, I would say I'm a carefree person. I'm not ashamed of my interests. I've got people that love me, I love them, and I love life. I'm carefree until I'm not. When I'm not carefree, I take everything seriously. I care way too much, I overthink everything, and I pick myself apart, and I bully myself until my breaking point. I blame interpretation. Interpretation, definition by book. The action of explaining the meaning of something. Interpretation is something that I've struggled with since I was little. You're probably thinking, Evie, what the heck does that mean? How do you struggle with interpretation? Well, for me, interpretation means seeing another person's actions or wording as meaning likely near nothing what they were trying to convey. At the age of 7, I became an anxious kid. Feelings started to feel bigger, and everything felt like it had to mean something. By that, I mean my mind would automatically fill in the blanks of actions I didn't understand with the worst possible explanation. A neutral expression, disapproval. A small shift in posture, you're pulling away from me. Even when nothing was wrong, it always felt like something was. Most think of that as a harsh mindset. To me, it's pretty normal. My habit of taking interpretations and running with them put me in positions where I would care way too much on how other people thought of me. I often have to remind myself that when 2 people observe an event, they aren't seeing the exact same thing. Instead, they're filtering the event through their own perspective. Differences in perspective are unavoidable because no 2 people experience life in exactly the same way. For years, my mindset and assuming tendencies never shifted until a few months ago when I came to realize that I shouldn't have cared as much as I did. On some random school day, me and my best friend were sitting under a bridge eating our lunch in front of a creek. After about 20 seconds of silence, she suddenly started screaming, and I mean death screaming. As I think most of you would do, I looked over and I yelled, "Oh my God, why are you yelling? Are you okay?" She turned her head to look at me and said, "I don't know, because I can," and shrugged. As she started to scream again, I interrupted her and said, "Keep your volume down. People are going to think we're insane." She slowly looked at me again with a judgmental facial expression. It said something along the lines of, I'm the one screaming, weirdo, and why would I care? They don't know me, and they can think whatever they want." After a few seconds, I started screaming with her. We got a lot of weird stares, but it was honestly a rejuvenating experience. In all seriousness, that was something I really needed to hear. At some point, I think you have to realize that everyone perceives you and thinks about you differently. They're going to think what they're going to think about you. And what they think isn't always going to be an accurate depiction of who you really are. But that doesn't make it your responsibility to change their minds. They don't know you, but you know you, and that's all that matters. When you know yourself and you stop caring about how other people think about you, the outside noise starts getting so much quieter. In the end, it genuinely doesn't matter how people think about you. It matters how you think about you. So go out there, be yourself, make a fool of yourself. Go be a beginner in the things you want to try. Make mistakes and learn. You're not a cat, you don't live 9 lives, you only live once, and you're never going to be as young as you are today. I believe that personal freedom begins when we stop measuring ourselves through other people's judgments. Stop worrying about what other people think and just start. It will all be okay, really, it will. It gets better. Just go and do things in life. I mean, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to go home and sit in bed all day, but this I believe. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you.
Paper's too big. Okay. What does respect mean to you? It's kind of hard to explain, right? I mean, you can say that you respect someone or that someone is respectful, but what does that really mean, you know? I was in the car one day with my father, and we were having a little dispute. And he was saying that he was undervalued by me. He felt disrespected. I didn't really understand what he meant by undervalued, but I know what he meant by disrespected. For some reason, I understood that clearly. That clicked. Respect is something that I pride myself from having towards and other people. Wow, okay. Respect is something that I pride myself in having towards and from other people. And him feeling as though he felt deprived of respect from me was something that I could understand. But I couldn't understand how he felt undervalued. I just didn't work for me. Eventually, I realized that I had never learned to assign people value. Instead, I had learned to give them my respect. And I had learned to strive for it from them, as opposed to wanting to be valued by them, to be worth something. Assigning other people or yourself some sort of value only limits who they are to you and creates a divide if they are not worth the same as you. No matter if you think they are less or more, there will still be an imbalance. I certainly don't want to be worth something. Then I have to, okay, shoot. Then I have something that I feel like I need to meet. I have to work to live up to my worth. And with that said, I figured that assigning people that, oh my God, dude, this is awful. Wow. Okay. My allergies are bad today, that's all I have to say. Okay. I need to live up to my worth. And with that said, I figured that assigning people value was not something that many people had the privilege of not knowing how to do. I was lucky enough to not have the nasty habit of thinking that somebody is worth something. We can also extend this sort of anti-value ideal to things. A $20 lunch, a $200 tree. Those are values that we as a people, a race, assigned, and one that we often believe as well, though they are so much more than their monetary worth. So instead of making assigning people value a habit, we can simply just have respect for everyone instead. Because even though we may not be so fond of them, we owe no value to them. This I believe.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly. Blackbird fly into the light of a dark black night. into the light of a dark black night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. Your life. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise.
Come on. Make a line. Today we are filled with gratitude for the insights and the wisdom of our coming of age youth. As we have seen over the course of this past year, they have begun in earnest to study themselves, to get to know themselves, examining their beliefs and values, ideals, and aspirations. With their belief statements, our coming-of-age youth have given us just a glimpse of where this process has led them, and we'd pause for a moment to thank those who've walked with them on this journey. We begin with those in our community who served as the adult facilitators for coming of age and who have given these youth direction, insight, wisdom, and guidance throughout the past year. They have brought patience, good humor, dedication, commitment, and much love and compassion. So please join me in thanking Sandy Eskrich, Rudy Moore, Olivia Moat, and Mo Lancaster.
To all who gather with us today, we ask that you remember your important role in the spiritual and moral development of these youth. Where they journey from here is not entirely up to them. It is also up to us. We must remember that deepening their experience of Unitarian Universalism is not the responsibility of their parents and advisors alone. Helping them to blossom as loving and conscientious human beings is a responsibility we all share. And now that they have completed their coming-of-age year, that responsibility becomes more relevant and more immediate. Now, for these young people, you can serve as both example and inspiration of how people live out in everyday life their spiritual values. Through you, they can observe Unitarian Universalist faith in action. There can be no greater or more effective teaching than your good example. So, will you continue to encourage the spiritual growth of these youth? Will you value their insights and emerging convictions and recognize the gifts and talents they bring to our community and the enthusiasm and hope that they bring to our world? And if so, please say, we will. We will.
And now, to our youth, to all of you, we recognize today the work you have done during this past year, and we are grateful for the gifts and the talents you've brought to us in your time here in this community. Will you continue this journey you have begun, growing as an individual, expressing your beliefs, growing in faith and continuing to question and explore? If so, please say, we will.
Now at this time, we turn to the parents of the coming-of-age youth. You, beyond everyone else, have been witness to the unfolding and maturing of your child from birth until today. In the beginning of the coming-of-age year, we asked you to give permission to your child to come of age. We ask you now, will you continue to open your hearts in order to receive your child into your family for all they have become in this past year? Do you promise now to continue your journey together with respect, patience, guidance, and love? And if so, please say, we will.
At the dedication of a child, we give to each a rosebud, fragrant symbol of beauty, promise, and love. The rose we give then has no thorns, symbolizing the better world we hope to give to our children. We hope that the children whom we have dedicated will learn to recognize the beauty and the goodness which does exist, that they will grow in wisdom and compassion, adding their own beauty and gifts to the world. Our hope is that as each rosebud unfolds in all its natural beauty, so may the life of each child unfold. Today, we give each of these young people a rose in full bloom, symbolizing the beauty and the gifts they already give to our world and the natural beauty found within each of them. Yet this time, the thorns are still intact. When you were a child, we could do our best to shield you from the harshness and the cruelty of the world. But now you are no longer a child, and we can no longer protect you from all that you encounter, both the beauty and the cruelty. But no matter where you may go and how far you may travel, you will always be with us in spirit, and we will always be sending blessings your way. So accept these roses, knowing that there are harsh realities in the world, but there is much beauty as well. May you choose to see the beauty whenever possible. And now, as we did when you were young children, we ask that you be granted clarity of thought, integrity of speech, and a compassionate heart. May the blessings of an understanding heart, strength, integrity of purpose, and love received and given be yours today and remain with you as you go forward into ever fuller life. Blessed be, and amen. And please join us in congratulating our youth.
Hello again. Please join us in singing our closing hymn, number 108, My Life Flows On in Endless Song.
My life flows on in endless song, above us lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails the new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife,
May the light around us guide our footsteps so we may live a life we love. May the darkness around us nurture our dreams so we may wake with renewed patience to continue growing as people. Let us seek to remember the wholeness of our lives, the weaving of light and shadow in this great and astonishing dance in which we move. Blessed be, go in peace. Please be seated for the recessional.